Representative Banyan, I have a question. Has the Green Acres tax law changes, have they caused any consternation in your legislative district? Or is it an issue you've been aware of or dealt with?
Representative Banyan.
Yes, in fact, they have. There's been something that we've talked about. We had a couple of meetings about it. They provide their relative Haven Township. Representative Winkler is a part of my House district, and there are issues surrounding Green Acres in that area.
Representative Winkler.
Mr. Chair, Representative Banyan, what you might not know is that the changes that were made to the Green Acres program, the significant ones that have caused so much heartburn for so many people, came at the suggestion of the legislative auditor, who reviewed the Green Acres program, reviewed the original intent and purpose behind it, and realized and pointed out that the program had strayed significantly from its original intended purpose. The changes that were made in law in, I think, 2009 were a direct result of an implementation of an independent oversight commission's work looking at an important program area in Minnesota and a significant expenditure. The point I'm trying to make is the challenge that we face in changing things is not coming up with ideas. The challenge is having the political will in the legislature to actually follow through on those changes and make them stick. And so I'm concerned that we create a body like a Sunset Commission that will make a lot of nice recommendations, and as soon as they come over to the legislature, if there's some group that finds them to be popular and worthwhile, and there will be a group for every single change they recommend, it will become problematic to actually implement that. So, and that brings me to the larger point of why, why not include an appropriation? Representative Pepin's bill had $100,000. Your bill for the Sunset Commission doesn't have an appropriation at all. And to me, that just suggests that we're not ready at the legislature to do the difficult choices sometimes to follow through on policy recommendations that come to us, or to spend a little bit of money in order to make government work better.
Representative Banyan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Winkler, 2 points to your question, and I'll make this a little bit 30,000 feet and not dive into the Green Acres question. Membership matters. And the fact that this Sunset Commission that I'm proposing has 5 members from each chamber means that when the legislature meets, when the proposals from the commission reach the floor, there are 5 people standing on the floor of the legislature that have already debated it and know that issue well. When you have independent commissions, unfortunately, the legislative auditor doesn't get a chance to speak on the floor of the House. Might not be a terrible idea from time to time, but the auditor does not get that opportunity. The members of the Sunset Commission will be able to speak about the proposals they have before them, because they will have been on the commission and on the floor. That is, in fact, the motivation for that. Let me turn to your second part of your question, I think, Representative Winkler, which is the appropriation question, and just say that we're not sure. At the time I was writing this, I didn't have a number to put on how much would this cost. I believe we have some information about that forthcoming. I'm still discussing with them exactly to be sure that I understand what those cost measures are, what those costs are, and if an appropriation on the bill would be helpful to that, I'd be certainly willing to look at that. Of course, this bill is I'm asking the bill be referred back to Ways and Means, and Ways and Means, of course, are the folks that have the checkbook. So if they want it, I assume they have a way to pay for it.
Well, Mr. Chair, Representative Banyan, I mean, as the Finance Committee with jurisdiction over this particular area, the financial implications and decisions should be reviewed here before it goes to Ways and Means. I guess what I'd like to, first of all, you know, you probably realize that the auditor has a commission of legislators that oversees their work and reviews all their findings.
Of course.
Which is not the same thing as being involved in making recommendations. But there is legislative involvement, and You might want to look at the long chain of recommendations from the legislative auditor for policy changes, recommendations, improvements to programs, agencies, et cetera, that just get ignored because they're not all that interesting. Would submit that the challenges, it's the same with zero-based budgeting. There's nothing here that we couldn't do. We don't need a bill. We don't need a commission to do these things. The challenge is that it's hard. It's really hard to actually make it stick and to make all of our colleagues agree that we should be cutting these things. I think we're seeing already in the budget cutting bill that was passed that making cuts are hard. The conference committee went in with the House bill that cut $200 million from asked state agencies to cut $200 million. The Senate went in with $125 million, and the compromise was to cut $100 million. They're hard things to do, and creating the commissions doesn't make it easier.